This is Mongolian Mindset, and today we're going to be doing Alex Hormozi. One of our Facebook members, I think, recommended we type him. But yeah, let's get into it. So Alex Hormozi, they have him as an entj. One of my boys said I should start reading the comments, so I'm gonna read a couple of them. Okay, so this guy says, if entj had a mascot, this would be it. I've never seen a person so dumb as Hormozi. This guy's constantly looking to improve his surroundings, and his NIs allowing him to tunnel vision throughout all of this. He seems to too often tunnel vision, which is one of the cons of NI, but simultaneously also a pro for people who have this hyper focus on one area of their life. Super ENTJ. Okay, somebody said healthy ENTJ, strong TE, strong NI, support. Feel like he also uses FE. Great use of TE, works brilliant in tandem as a marketing and observation man, focused on execution to his TE Dom wife, who forte is structure and holistic bottom line considerations. So I'm going to have to look at this. Oh, somebody said this guy is textbook healthy ENTJ, very comfortable with people, highly inquisitive and thought-provoking, very logical with all of his conclusions and thought process, and very methodical and articulate with long-term goal plans. Okay, so we'll look at him today, and we'll see. You guys know we use Linda Barrens metrics, interaction styles, and temperament, combined with cognitive functions. So ENTJs, that's my personality type, so it should be pretty easy for me to see this. ENTJs are initiating. They're pragmatic, so they break rules. They're rebellious. They're contrarians, that type of thing. They're initiating, so they're extroverted. They're systematic, so they're always implementing a system or structure to get more control over their life. The outcome focus, so that means that they're looking at the end product, and they'll be talking about the end product. They really aren't into the journey of anything. The journey means absolutely fucking nothing if you don't get the outcome. That's how I feel about it. They're TFI users, so they're going to be talking about achievements, what they value, those type of things. NI, so they're going to have a little bit of tunnel vision too. They're going to know the best path forward for themselves, what the future is for them. SE, what I've noticed with ENTJs is, boy, they beat the shit out of SE. They be like, you, talking about what other people are doing all the time. They don't beat that shit dead. But yeah, they're direct as well. They're abstract. Yeah, we got all of them. But yeah, let's get into this. Okay, and we are still doing free typing sessions. All you have to do is join my Facebook group and message Cody with your availability, and we'll get you typed. There's people out there charging $200, $300, $400, $500 to type people, and aren't as close as accurate to us. And I mean, I really don't see anybody in the typing space when it comes to accuracy to finding someone's type. So yeah, go ahead and join my group and message Cody, and we'll get you typed. Like we said, it's free. It's limited time. We will be charging in the future as we roll things out more. But one of our goals is to make the most accurate MBTI space. And Kevin, I know what you're thinking, man. Mercy, you forgot to send them to the psychiatric ward. You know, every time we drop a video, Mongolian Mindset sends somebody to the psychiatric ward. We are the red pill, man. Don't think I forgot about that, Kevin.
If you suffered from racial inequality, if you suffered from gender inequality, you would be completely justified in the fact that you are not achieving the things that other people who didn't have those disadvantages have achieved.
Outcome.
And I say this as a white guy who was born in America to a doctor father. But to the same degree, you have the opportunity.
Ooh, woo, coming off the wreck. The extra side of it.
That Chris nor I have, which is that you can be an inspiration to people who went through the same thing. Because I can promise that there is somebody.
You can be an inspiration to the people who went through the same thing. That's another outcome. Damn, we just in the intro.
Had it worse and has done it better.
That's another outcome. Boy, we got 3 outcomes in the first 20 seconds. We on fire. 40% of our 60% of our viewers are not subscribed. So guys, if you guys can please subscribe, that helps us grow the group and it helps us grow the channel. We're all about reinvesting in Mongolian Mindset. That means, so you guys, I already make pretty good money with my job. So this is more about casting out the vision that I've always had for myself. which is complete domination. So let's do that. Join the group.
Alex Hormozi, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, man. One of my favorite things to do is to scrape through people's Twitters that are aphorists and come up with little pithy statements and then break them down. So I want to go through some of the things
He's coming off systematic.
that I've learned from you over the last year or so. Go into those. And then there's some talking points that I don't think I've heard you speak about before as well. I want to get onto.
Amped.
Beautiful. So the first one
Coming off direct as well.
is so many lives would transform overnight if they realized my life sucks, I have nothing going for me, really means I have nothing to lose, and that makes you a very dangerous person.
So in any kind of game position, so like in business, right? Every position has advantages and disadvantages. And a lot of people look at the really big guys and they're like, man, they...
Talking about what other people are doing to see. Well, we gonna put that. Well, we'll connect some SE. We'll separate them today.
They'll look at me like, must be easy for Alex, right? And I remember when we had Gym Launch and we had a very big company, I would tell the
Really big company. Outcome as well.
guys who are coming up, I was like, if you're trying to compete against me, I was like, you have advantages. I was like, if you're on a sales call, you're like, listen, you're just a number to Alex. You're never going to talk to Alex, right? Here with me, you're going to get my attention. I'm the one, right? I was like, that's how you're going to throw stones at me. I was like, but on the flip side, if it's me marketing to the masses, I'm going to be like, this kid's in his mom's basement and he has no idea what he's doing. He's been in business for 12 months. And of course he has no idea. Like, wouldn't you want somebody who has thousands of success stories behind it because we've made a system? Like, both sides.
System. Okay. Yeah, he just gave people game right there. That guy just gave you game.
Have advantages. And so what happens is people are in this small position where they're more nimble, they can give more personalized attention to people, etc. And they see
That's an outcome. You can give more people more attention. Okay. So yeah, this guy's already outcome. So with him being outcome, that eliminates the progression types. That means the journey focus types. And what that means is they value the journey over the end product. Okay. So with that being said, the progression types are eliminated. That means INFJ, ENFP, INTJ, ENTP, ISTJ, ESFJ, and ESFP. They are eliminated. And ISTP. They're all eliminated because they're outcome. Okay. I mean, not outcome, they're progression. They're progression. So the progression types are eliminated because this guy's outcome focused. He's looking at the end product here. He's beating that shit dead already.
see it as a pure disadvantage. And so you can flip the fact that you have nothing going for you with you have nothing to lose. And that means that you can take
That guy, another outcome. This guy here.
lots of risks very quickly and end up in the exact same position you are, which is nothing. And so if you eliminate downside,
Talking about the end product again.
it should decrease your action threshold, meaning you should be able to do more things faster
TE.
rather than do fewer things because you don't have a great life or things going for you.
It's TE.
And so I think if people flip that,
Talking about being effective.
a lot more people would take action because they actually realize the advantage of their position.
Jack Butcher say
Outcome well.
is you get rich by taking lots of risk with small amounts of money, and you stay rich by
Okay, so
taking
this guy just referenced outside source. This guy's a TE. That's a TE.
small amounts of risk with lots of money.
Yes, I wholeheartely agree. I didn't know that was his quote.
He may have repurposed it. There's something called Churchillian drift. Do you know what that is?
No.
So it's a phenomenon.
Everything's Churchill at the core.
It's the opposite. It's that quotes that weren't said by Churchill often get like erroneously attributed to him. It's like all quotes lead back to Churchill, even though they didn't.
And Socrates.
Yeah, it's like it's just one of those things where it's like I think that Churchill once said that you get rich by making large amounts. It's like no, he fucking. But there's another one as well that a good friend James Smith talked about, which is if you're succeeding at a job that you hate, imagine how good you'd be at a job that you loved. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the same. This person is starting from essentially zero. How much fucking worse can it get?
Right. It's the downside. If you can eliminate someone's downside for action, it's like then the bias, it should bias you towards taking action.
Why is it that people in that case, if they do have nothing to lose, still feel like they have lots to lose?
Because I think most of the times, I think this is really important, is that
I think this is really important. FI, come on.
have nothing objectively to lose. And so everything that they feel like they have to lose is purely made up in their mind. It's stories they tell themselves about what other people are going to think about them when those people aren't even thinking about them to begin with, right? But like, that's where they live all of their lives, or live out all of the potential downside, is in the mere reflection of what other people will think about them in the future should they fail. And I think that is like, if we were trying to get real and I'm like talking to somebody like, well, I mean, because I know that if I actually had somebody in front of me, they'd start squirming, right? If I said the first thing, right? Like, you have nothing to lose. And then
they start squirming.
Because then they do have something to lose, and I just have to name it for them and be like, okay, who's the person in your mind? Who's the voice? It's like, blah, 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 6 questions deep. It's my uncle. Okay, why? Like, let me...
6 questions deep. It's my uncle. This guy's direct. Okay, so he's directing outcome. So, back to the chart. He's directing outcome. So that means that he is a structure type. So that means ESTJ, ESTP, ENTJ, and enfj, because he has direct language and he's outcomes, looking at the end product. Okay, he's not on this journey. So Alex, you are a structure type, buddy.
State it this way: will your belief that you're going to be viewed as a failure by your uncle be the sole reason that you live the rest of your life below your potential and
that's a fucking outcome?
Regret everything that you don't do because of Uncle Tom? That's the wrong one. Uncle Harry. When you say it like that, all of a sudden they're like, I don't want to let Uncle Harry have that kind of power. And then all of a sudden it breaks, and then they like get free of it. And so I think it's getting really specific.
Okay, so that's abstract. Okay.
Can really narrow on the, because people say it's society, it's other people. It's like, it's usually 1 or 2 voices. And if you can get really specific on whose voice it is, then you can name it. And then like, I think I'm a big believer in like shame.
It's a system.
Shame only exists in the shadows, which is like, once you put it in the light, you look at it and you're like, my mom? That was really it? Like, when I really think about it, it's because it's not even just my mom, it's my mom in this circumstance. When I come back home for Thanksgiving, I just am so afraid of the comment that she's gonna make. It's like, well, what if we confront that? Okay, your mom, you sit down at Thanksgiving dinner and you haven't made money yet and you quit your job. Now what? Is that better than you spending the next 60 years hating her or resenting her for the fact that she held you back? And then it's like, when you give the real scenario, they're like, well, shit. And then like this weight comes off and they're like, fuck, I guess I should do this. And you're like, yeah.
Shame only exists in the shadows is nice. Yeah. I like that. And it definitely is cleansing to just be like, look, here it is, out in front of you.
Yeah.
Another Jack, ENTJ. Isn't that funny? S.E. Child.
And you realize just how irrational it is.
Because we don't want to look at it.
Yeah.
Because it's in the shadow. And we put it in the shadows because of how it makes us feel about ourselves, in my opinion. And so...
He's talking from an FI inferior perspective right there. Okay? He's coming from an FI inferior perspective.
It's so scary, we avoid it. We avoid it. But it's like, I think the faster you can kind of build that muscle of like, I've got this hesitation. What is the real reason? Because like logically, I can do that whole thing. Cool, you have nothing to lose. You're poor. Great, 0, right? Okay, but then what is it that I do have something to lose? It's relational capital. It's status within my tiny micro community that doesn't matter, but like my perceived status. Okay, name the names, but by pulling it out from the shadows. But like that confrontation from here to here is, I think, where all the fear is, because it's embarrassing to be like, it's my mom.
The other perfect thing,
I'd say that's abstract. That was
a great realization, I think, for anybody that's starting out and is feeling self-conscious about what other people are going to think, is when you're starting out, by design, there are so few people looking at you that even if you do fail, no one fucking sees, right? So this is something we realized when we were running nightclubs, that we would try and launch a new event around Freshers Week in September, and we would have this great idea, and everything would be about flamingos, or it would be a smart night on a Tuesday, so people could go out after they've been to sports club or whatever it was, and then it would flop, right? And we'd do 150 people, and all of the guys that work for us would be stood outside looking destitute and upset, and they'd go, oh, it's so embarrassing.
The tables there so it looks like there's more room.
Oh, dude, we had so many tricks. We'd pump the room full of smoke. We would pad the back off so that everyone had to go to the front. We'd get the DJ to play music, all sorts of shit. But all of the
like SE from this guy.
Boys would be like, fuck, this makes us look so bad. Everyone's going to think that we're shit. I was like, no. 150 people are going to think that we're shit.
Yeah.
Like, the advantage of running a shit business that doesn't reach many people is that not many people saw your shit business. And that's when you're starting out. People that are concerned about becoming a content creator. I'm worried about starting a podcast because what if everyone sees how shit my podcast is? It's like, dude, no one's going to see your shit podcast. It took me 3.5 years to get even an appreciable amount of people listening to this show. And it was effort 3 times a week. No one cares when you start. So you can be liberated from that as well. And it's just objection handling all the way down.
I think a couple frames
from him
that are just different frames around content making, since we're on the topic, that helped me was, one is seeing it as practice rather than the game. So like when we're doing a podcast, if you start, you're like, hey, I'm going to do a podcast, I'm going to post it. It's practice for me getting better for future me, rather than like
future focus, abstract.
Like this is the main game. It's like, no, the game is the whole thing. And this is just like, we're still in preseason.
Yep.
Like these scores, these touchdowns don't even matter yet, right? Now you can say yet, even though like I can still feel like I'm in preseason, but I think from a mental framework, it actually decreases the stakes associated with doing it. And I think that's been helpful for me, especially it was in the earlier days. The other one was kind of the equal opposite of this problem, which is not wanting to start because no one's watching, because it feels like you're doing all this work. What's the point? And so the little mental trick that I had was, one, I track lots of stuff. And the more ways you track, the more ways you...
Track, TE, more of a systematic approach.
You can win. And so that's a little thing
about winning, get your SE child in check, Alex.
So like if you track 100 stats, then you only need one of them to go up so you feel like you made some progress. So that's like...
You only need one of them to go up to feel like you got some progress, that little tiny outcome.
An easy one. And the second thing around the tracking is that I would look at like the biggest possible number. So a lot of times you can see like the impressions of, a post that you make. Even if you only got like 16 likes, I got like 100 impressions. And I thought to myself, I was like, well, if there was a room of 100 people, I'd be stoked.
What if, that's abstract. Go back. What if there was a room full of what if statements are abstractions?
Like that would be awesome. Especially in the early days, I was like, I would totally feel like that was worthwhile. And so taking those little impressions...
I would feel like that was totally worthwhile. So because that happened, I got my end product that's worthwhile. So that means he's not about the journey. Outcome as well.
Numbers and pretending that they were like micro events that I was making the work or the content for, all of a sudden made it feel worth it for me. And so the combination of...
When I started looking at the end product, it made it all worth it for me.
I can have a small room and I'm really impacting. Like when I get a view that has like 13
really impacting, that's SE
views on it, for like a video in the early days, I'd be like, well, shoot, I made this video and 13 people saw it. Was like a small room. Like that works. But looking at both absolute growth and relative growth. So it's like, okay, well, I went from 10 followers this month to 15 followers this month. It's like, well, you can say that you
the numbers, TE.
Gained 5 followers. I was like, or you can say that you went up by 50%. And that was exciting. And so then because I'm a Excel projection guy, I was like, okay, well, if I do this
every day, he's TEFI, he's systematic.
Every month, and the team knows this because I project everything out. I'm like, if we do this, because I'll predict.
I project everything out. That's NI.
We're going to be in like 12 months. And
I project out in the future for 12 months. That's future focus, and that's NI as well. So this guy as abstract, we got 5 points for abstractions. So that makes him abstract. So we're already down to E and TJ and enfj because we have direct, outcome, and abstract. Okay, he's direct, outcome, abstract. With that being said, the difference between ENTJ, ENFJ, ENFJs are interest focused. Okay, so they're what they get out of a situation. ENTJs are systematic. Okay, we like to do systems. We like to include systems in everything. I mean, man, I'm so systematic, dude. I have a book in my bathroom every time I take a shit, and I read at least 3 pages every time I go take a fucking shit. Okay, that's a system there. Okay. So difference again is ENTJs are TEFI, so they're all about the achievements and whatnot. ENFJs are TIFE, okay. So they'll be talking about logical frameworks, making people feel good, how people feel. If you watch the last video with Jay-Z, he was pretty phenomenal with his FE parent. Where he was talking about empathy and stuff like that, moving the group together forward. ENTJs are pragmatic, so they're kind of rebellious. ENFJs are affiliative, so they're talking about doing what's right, being included in a group. interdependence, inclusion, cooperation, that type of thing. ENTJs are like, bro, what gets things done? What are the results? They're gonna be rebellious, so contrarians, that type of thing. They're both SENI users, so SENI is already dead, but we almost had enough to close that out already. We had 4 points for that. And we're practically almost done here because he is systematic NTFI. We just need a couple more points, and we'll be done with this guy. He will be an ENTJ, and Personality Database can pat themselves on the back. They actually got this guy right. Maybe he is the spokesperson for ENTJs.
I usually hit it. Very.
Really?
Very.
But how do you account for the unforeseen 5 million play video that comes in?
Well, that's my padding.
Right.
So
okay.
I'll project out with no white swan events.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Where something good happens.
Yep.
But just if we keep doing what we're currently doing at this trajectory, we compound at 13% a month.
Yep.
That's what it is right now.
That's TE. Okay.
So 13% monthly, and that's just on one of the platforms we're on. And so I can just see what we're going to be at 6 months, and that's exciting.
So James Smith gamifies.
Okay, so I can see what we're going to be in 6 months. That's outcome. Okay, he's looking at the outcome in 6 months. He's getting excited about the outcome before he even gets there.
Is it in the same way? You know,
does he?
Yeah, absolutely, exactly the same way. And he always says that it's just like playing
This guy's referencing an outside source again, TE.
levels on a computer game. And this month, wow, like I got another XP point or whatever. And I think that's very important because social media and the fact that it is associated with status, even though everybody says, oh, you know, it doesn't really matter and blah, blah, it does. Like, it's very hard for us to remove the human hierarchy from what is evidently just quantified
Hierarchy system.
fucking
TE.
status, right, on a screen. And what he did was he removed himself a lot existentially from that by saying it's not a comment on my worth as a person. It's not a comment on whether I'm, you know, going to be loved or accepted by the world. It's me putting some stuff out. And wow, we won this month.
Yeah.
And this month, oh, maybe we didn't win. Why didn't we win? Or I go back. The same way as if someone beats you at FIFA, unless you're like a pro FIFA player or whatever. But again, with that, what's the difference between the amateur FIFA player and the pro FIFA player? The pro has put his existential connection to his content and the success of it.
There's so many little things on this that I want to go into. One of them is so Dr. Keirsey's my closest friend. He's like a behavioral whatever, loves studying why humans do things. And so people who are most successful, a lot of times, it's not that they necessarily have more willpower. They find other ways to reward themselves. And so he's like, the more skills you have, the more ways you have to reward yourself. And so somebody can extend how long their time horizon is because they do gamify it. So people who don't have the skills of figuring out ways to reward themselves in the meantime can't make it the whole way. But that's like when you're doing cardio and you're like, okay, it's 5 times 5 to get out of here, right? You create micro games within the longer game to keep yourself going. And the thing is, I've seen that across
micro games, so quick little outcomes to keep moving on.
Verticals. So like if you look at so Travis Mash is a Olympic lifter.
He keeps dropping other people's names left and right. TE name dropping.
Coach out of North Carolina, and he has this really cool way of getting lifters to PR every workout, to have a personal record every workout. And what he does is he have them map.
He has a cool system. Okay.
Every single set and rep range for every.
All right, I'm just letting you guys know we are done here. This guy's an ENTJ. We got enough points for TEFI systematic to conclude that he's an ENTJ, but we're going to keep going for about 3 more minutes and see what we can get. This is all to help you guys get better at typing.
Every single lift at every weight. And so what happens is all you have to do is go through your book of 200 lifts and every single weight, and you can always find one that you did a year ago. And
oh
you're
my
like,
God, this is my 8 rep max PB on good mornings.
Yes. And you're like, well, I can hit 9 on this, or I can add 5 pounds to it. And so every workout they win.
Yeah.
And so they get excited because they get rewarded every workout. And so that's why it's like the more ways you track, the more ways you can win. And then I think that's those little micro wins.
It goes back to his system. The more ways you can track, the more ways you can win. That's his little system from earlier. That's why he says he tracks everything.
Can keep you going over the long game that you have to just keep playing.
One of the other associated tweets that you did was, if your life sucks, the easiest thing is to change your environment.
Oh yeah.
This is something that I saw moving from a very good life in the UK to now as excellent of a life as I can imagine in Austin. Mm-hmm. And I'd met about 1 million people throughout my time as a club promoter and had a handful of friends. And I was like, fuck, like I feel like my people met to friend conversion should be higher than this. I feel like the funnel is very wide.
That's a very TE systematic response from this guy.
And like the conversions are very low, to use your terminology.
Yeah.
And then moved out to Austin, and it's like I have more friends than people I've met, which is just fucking insane. So definitely changing your environment. What other ways, given that not everybody could move to Austin, what other ways would you say if your life sucks, the easiest thing is to change your environment?
I would put money. This guy's an entj. This guy also is an entj. Not exactly as if he's intj or entj. Haven't been really paying attention to see if he's outcome or progression, but he's an entj.
Environment. What other ways could someone do that?
I mean, the environment is, I mean, like, you know,
because he's direct. That guy's direct. He's TFI. He's always referencing someone else's quote, systematic, and he's SENI. So he's an NTJ.
I'm going to tangent. I'm going to come back. So if you've ever heard somebody say like, "Man, I hate Cincinnati. Cincinnati sucks," right? Or they go some city and like they go there for 2 days.
Talking about what other people are doing. That's SE.
And they make a judgment across the entire city, right? But it's like, okay, let's go really deep. You ate at 3 restaurants. And you saw 7 total people in Cincinnati.
You did this, that's SE.
Does Cincinnati suck, or do the 2 restaurants that you went to or the 7 people that you were with are they not that cool? Well, it's so easy to just move like 2 miles down the street. It's the same reason people do staycations. It's like you don't even need to change cities. You can be in the same city and still change the environment. Like just moving out of your mom's basement, you know what I mean? And just going into another place with 4 guys can change the environment. And so like that's the thing that to me was so telling on this was so heroin addiction, super addicting, I'll put it that way. And when a bunch of soldiers came back from Vietnam, they had been addicted. I don't know if you've heard of this, right? 25% of soldiers who went to Vietnam tried heroin. It was like,
okay, so that's TE numbers, 25%.
Like an insane statistic. And in the
statistics, that's TE.
US, 90% of heroin addicts who go to clinics relapse. So they have a 10% long-term success rate. Tough.
Damn, I didn't even notice that. I noticed that. You know, I had a theory in my head that essentially and I hate to say it, but when people start getting on that heroin, I always say that they're practically already dead. They're already dead people. And, you know, he just said 90% of them relapse. Like, it doesn't matter if it's 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now, 10 years from now, 13 years from now, 15 years, you're going to relapse it. You know, it's only 10% of people actually do well, so that's crazy. If you're one of those guys out there, and just stay the fuck away from drugs, man. Just don't even do it to your brain chemistry. Don't do it. Once you fuck that shit up, you can't go back, man.
Off. The stats are completely reversed from people who got addicted or did heroin in Vietnam and then came back to the US, which then you could draw the line, which is, it's better to change your environment than to even do anything else, because what happens is you eliminate all the triggers and cues that
I'm not the best thing to do. That's systematic. Okay.
That are associated with the habit that you're trying to destroy.
You see that the American government was absolutely concerned that there was going to be an epidemic.
Yeah.
They were adamant that all of these soldiers were going to come home and it were going to be these veterans that were all addicted to heroin.
Yeah.
Wild.
And there are, for sure, but so much proportion less than their quote should be.
Yep.
Because the problem with the current system and like, for anyone who's listening,
talking about the system, systematic,
you can still extrapolate the principle or the concept. People are in the environment that
they're the concept, that's abstract.
Addicted. They change environments and they go to a clinic. They change the environment, they change their behavior. And then they go back to the same environment and their behavior changes yet again to match the environment. And so it's like, if you want to change your actions, the easiest thing you can do is just change the environment. Because if you can do that,
your outcome there.
A lot of times, a lot of the negative things you have, you just don't get triggered. You don't get the cue for the behavior. It just gets extinguished.
So the way that I've worked this into my home working setup is I think I have 6 or 7 different places that I can work at.
Hey, Alex, I'm going to steal that shit, man. Good shit, man. I'm going to steal that. Next time somebody asks me some shit, man, change your fucking environment.
Yeah. And I do different tasks at each one of them. So I've got a place I'm writing a book. I've got a place that I write my book. That's first thing in the morning. I've got a place that I do my emails at. That's
I got a place systematic on Chris Williamson.
Recumbent desk bike, which is fucking unbelievable, dude. Zone 2, 180 minutes a week of Zone 2 cardio, 180 minutes a week of emails with Zone 2 cardio. The place outside, I've got my studio record inside, we've got 2 living rooms with different houses that I can go into. And I'm like, different spots for each one. And if I'm in this vibe, I'm over here, and if everything's a bit...
I've systematized everything.
Go for a walk, come back, move somewhere else. I'm like, now I'm in a different mode.
Totally. And I'm actually, so it works in the equal opposite too. It's if you want to start something, right? So like what we were talking about was extinguishing bad habits by changing the environment, by eliminating the cue. But on the flip side, if you want to start a habit, like for me, one of my quote famous ones is like, I want to put sunscreen on. It's like this, it's like one habit that's like 80-20.
Why do you need to put sunscreen on so much?
Because, not so much. If like, if you do like, it's like kind of like walking. Like if you just walk once a day and if everyone just did that, like you add 10 years to everyone's life. It's like, what are the few...
Look at that. Let's jump straight to the motherfucking end product.
Things. It's like baby aspirin walk. Like if you do that, crushing it. From a like skin cancer prevention A, and then B, just like less wrinkled Alex future.
Future focus. Man, you guys don't even want to know. Like, dude, if you join the group, I post some of the things that I take just daily, like vitamin D. If you're not taking vitamin D, what are you fucking doing? You also got to combine that with like a K2. So try to get the vitamin D and K2. A lot of people are deficient in vitamin D. Hyaluronic acid, that helps with wrinkles. I highly recommend taking that. Creatine, if you're not taking creatine, what the fuck are you doing? It's the most studied supplement. Helps with cognitive functions, muscle strength, muscle growth, and just overall. So those are like some of the supplements I take. Also take NMN. So that's a I forget exactly the name, whatever, but it's another molecule which they're actually banning because of David Sinclair trying to market it, but it has wonderful anti-aging properties. I take that shit fucking daily, man, and I feel like fucking the champ. I feel like the fucking champ. So yeah, get into your prevention shit, man. You'll look better, you'll do better.
Suntan lotion or SPF stuff is like the 80-20 of that, right? Instead of having a zillion other things. So it's like, okay, I don't like it. I realize the reason I don't like it is I don't like oil on my hands. Sounds so stupid, but like that's enough punishment for me doing it that I stopped doing it. And so I had to overcome 2 things. One was that I hate the oil on my hands, and the second is that I don't remember. So I put...
Second, I don't remember. That's SI Trickster, okay? It's SI Trickster coming out.
One thing of sunscreen at each of my watering holes. So I get...
So he's talking about the same thing that I do. Like I literally in my house, I have all my supplements in eye view. Like I will have them like set in one spot so that I fucking see them and I will take and use them. Because if I don't, then I won't do them. So like when girls come over, they're like, "Oh my god, you got all your supplements and stuff out." I'm like, "Don't touch my shit. All right, don't touch my shit." But they always want to reorganize my shit. But I'm like, "Don't touch my shit because I need to see it. If not, I'll fucking forget about it."
Cued because I see it as soon as I sit down. So I eat lunch at the same table, I work at the same table, and on my nightstand. Those are the 3 places that I spend my time. And so I have one in each of the 3 places. And then the type of sunscreen I have is that I have one that's dispensed through a thing, so I don't actually have to touch it. So it's like, do I know why? It's like if you can identify why you don't like doing something, then you can isolate why am I being punished for this behavior and think, okay, is there a way I can fix it? And the other is how can I cue myself on a more regular basis by changing my environment rather than setting an alarm on my phone where if it goes off right now in the middle of a podcast, I'm not going to pull out suntan lotion, or I'd have to carry everything with me, which I would never do, right? That would punish me far more than just not putting it on to begin with. And so just thinking through both of those things, anyways, that has been really helpful for me in starting and cueing myself to do new behaviors that I want to do, and then also stopping behaviors that I don't want to do.
Very nice. Most distractions come dressed as easy opportunities.
All right, so we're done here. This guy, Alex Hormozi, is a ENTJ. Personality database actually got this correct. Okay. Looking at the chart, we'll go over it again. He's an ENTJ, so that means what we noticed very early on with Alex was that he's outcome focused. He's looking at the end product. That's the only thing that really matters. He's not about the journey. So with that being said, that eliminated all progression types. So that means your finishers, that means the ISTJs, ISTPs, INTJ, INFJ are gone. ESFJ, ESFP, ENTP, ENFP are gone based off that. Okay, and he's direct. So if he's direct, that means the introverts are now dead as well. That means ISFJ, ISFP, INTP, and INFP are dead. we're looking at an ESTJ, ESTP, ENTJ, ENFJ. With him being direct and outcome, okay? Alex, we also noticed was systematic. So if he's systematic and abstract, that cues straight down to ENTJ, okay? With being abstract, that limited down to ENTJ, ENFJ. That means ESTPs and ESTJs are eliminated because they're concrete thinking. And systematic, so that just basically narrowed it down to ENTJ. I mean, we could have went different routes. We could have went systematic first, that would limit us down to ESTJ and ENTJ, and then with him being pragmatic and him being abstract, back down to ENTJ again. So you could have went many different routes to get to it, but it's the same result. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's great to do another ENTJ. But it's Mongolian Mindset, and we're out.